Welcome back to the Tim and Steve Show. I am Tim Beard.
I'm Steve Morris.
What's going on, Steve?
It's a little bit louder now that I actually wore my headphones today. I didn't wear them on our last episode.
The whole last show, he's like, something's missing. And then he's like, I didn't wear my headphones. And I'm like, I could hear you fine. So I was like, that's kind of funny.
Well, the episode before, I kept exhaling right into the microphone. It was really on my nerves when I was trying to get the chapters down, rewatching it to make sure I had the times. But anyway, today, sitting back a little bit from the microphone, facing you a little bit, and I'm not going to bob my head up and down in acknowledgement of what you're telling me. So just assume I'm listening to you. There you go. Yeah, I do that a lot because it's my way of showing that I'm listening.
I get you. So, yeah, it's Monday morning, and it was hard for me to get up this morning, I can tell you that. Well, I'm not used to getting up early in the morning anymore. When I say early, like 9 o'clock is when I've been getting up. But I stay up late. But Adelina got up, 4 o'clock this morning, and then she got a wicked cough. Andrew says she can bring her to the doctor. She thinks she has whooping cough. She's like, I don't know. It didn't sound good. And she's like, where the hell should you get that from? Like, I haven't been around anybody. Like, I don't know. I swear, as soon as we left Florida and we started to head to the Northeast, like, my nose started to get like it was before I left. Like, I'm telling you, they're poisoning us up here. I think it is.
I don't know. I've seen, people tell you that's ignorant to assume. But I've been outside, and I have pictures of the cloud, the sky with crisscrossing lines and everything.
Yeah, you get the video of is it video?
I
Microscope?
The microscope?
Yeah, it looks like someone's looking into a microscope, and that's if the sky was like that. Remember the picture you showed me? I think it was a picture or video.
I don't know.
It was a video. You showed me, like, so that everyone thinks, this is real. It was just the cloud looked like, kind of like if you're looking through a microscope kind of thing. And, I don't know. There was no sick people in Florida. I mean, not that
Well,
there
think
was no
about
sick
it.
people, but
It's warmer. Everybody's
Right?
outside. So, warm and cold has nothing to do with getting sick, allegedly. But being outside and getting, sunlight.
Yeah, the sunlight's a huge one. And
then you're not as depressed. Like there is a gloomy season
right
that we're coming into right now.
You see Friday's forecast.
Negative 15?
Negative. Well, I saw negative 15, then Andrew checked it, so it's actually negative 13 because, constantly changes. But then Saturday she was saying it was like negative 17. And I'm like, this is complete BS because I don't know how my house is going to heat with it that cold. So I might want to get my furnace going this week. Yeah, I don't know. That's cold. I mean, we've had it like 10 degrees, and it's okay, but another 30 below that, minus that or so. Yeah, I'm not looking forward to that. Hopefully this will be our little stretch of bad weather. It'll just be gone, and we can just jump into...
Yeah, we've had a pretty good run so far.
We have. It's been good. I'm super thankful. I was thinking about that the other day, yesterday actually. We were talking about, the house, and I was like, yeah, I mean, if it wasn't for the good fall, winter, part of winter that we had, I don't know where I'd be right now because I had so many times.
Up here,
probably
camping
up here, Yeah, no, it's been a good run. So it's a little warm up here today. I was able to put my T-shirt on.
Yeah, I turned it on last night. I didn't turn it on full blast. I turned it on towards the middle.
Yeah.
The cost of propane and heating oil.
Big ass freezer you got in your garage. That's not yours, that's mine. I come in, I'm like, oh yeah, I forgot that was here.
I hadn't even opened it. I need to go and rummage through
Take
there.
something. I told you, the only thing I'll take is in the black bag, which is my deer head that I shot now a year ago. It's still in the freezer.
You think it's freezer burned?
Well, I'm not going to eat it, so I don't know.
Are you going to take it to the taxidermist?
That's been the plan. Now I'll probably have to defrost the whole freezer to get it out.
Yeah, maybe, because we did move it twice, right? Had to get it up out of the basement, and then it sat out on the driveway overnight.
Yep.
And then we moved it here.
And then I moved it here, and then, yeah. I still don't have room in my garage for it yet, but I'm getting there. The more wood stuff I do, I started the floor upstairs in the apartment, and the garage. And so I started to put that across, and I was like, I got to get... Of course, I'm like, I got to hurry and get through this wood. but I know already in my head, I'm like, all right, I got to message Mark and tell him I need more wood because I know I'm going to need more. So, but that'll take a big space in the garage that will be empty. And at least at that point, I can move stuff around. Probably can then organize, and then I'm sure I'll have room for, another pallet of that stuff. I just need to move where it's at.
You got a lot.
I do. I started the carpet yesterday, so I did the window trim during the day for our bedroom, and then like swept the floor good. And Edgar had a lot of spots where there was mud all over the floor. Like, hey, this free labor, he's doing it. I don't have to do it, so I'll get up. So just scraped up that and cleaned that up, and then I started. So after you guys left yesterday, Andrew's brother and girlfriend and his son and his girlfriend, they were up, and then they left a little bit after you did, and then I was like, all right, cool. And I was gonna, between commercials, I just keep going in, and I was working on putting the carpet down, and then my friend Tony and Tammy showed up after they left, like I think about the same time they left, and which I was happy that they showed up because I haven't seen them in a while. Like it's the first time they've been to the house and everything, and they stayed for the rest of that other football game. They were there until 10 o'clock, I think. And
who won that game?
Kansas City. Yeah. So, but it was good. I was glad. I was hoping to get in there and kind of get the carpet down, and so I was going to kind of go in between, and that way we can get in there. But I'll just later on today try to finish it, and so we can get in our bedroom, and then maybe can start to unpack more stuff. And it's just been a pain. But then after last night, I was kind of like, I don't know if I want Adelina like that far away from us when she woke up with like her cough and stuff, but that'd be all right.
Yeah, she'll be fine.
She will be. I think it's funny, as I get older as a parent, even though I'm more experienced now than I was when I originally had my first two kids. Devin was born, I was 19, and then Danny, I was 21, I think, just turned 21. I think so. I there's things I've learned, and I think I'm a better parent, and I'm obviously more stable than I was when I was 19 years old. But I think I get more nervous about things. Like Andrea, not so much, because she's a great mom. She just knows all these little things, and like I hear that cough, and I'm like, what the hell? I'm nervous, and not that I think immediately I want to go to doctors, because the last place on earth I want to go is the doctors. But she's like, I think it's that, and I'm like, what the hell? How'd you get that? Like, she's healthy, she eats healthy for the most part, like. But yeah, it is weird that I feel as you get older, I get more nervous about things like that. I don't know why, but
yeah, I remember when we were younger in our first house, and Zeta was like the master bedroom was on the other side of the house than like her bedroom. But you get over it kind of quick.
yeah, I'm sure it'll be fine.
I mean, you're fine tuned to wake up. Like I won't wake up too much, but if I hear Nikki or Zeta yell, that I like snap up immediately. But the dogs crying, barking, not so much.
Yeah, so she got up. I think it was 4, and then of course
Now if the dogs are barking like there's something outside, then I'm just saying, like the dogs start playing at 2 a.m, that won't wake me up. But if they sense that something's out on the prowl around our property,
we what was I saying? Yeah, so 4, like 4 o'clock. Of course, I went to bed late as it was. I went to bed at like 11:30, and I was like, man, I got to get up at 6:30, bring kids to school, come here and do the show. And I was like, so that's in my head too, and I think that makes it a little harder to sleep. Because you're like, I got to get up early in the morning, so like I got to go to sleep. And so then Andrea hasn't been giving her sippy at night because we're potty training, which I would successfully say she's potty trained. She's had no accidents or anything. But at nighttime, we still put like a pull-up on her because she's not trained fully for that yet, I guess. So she hasn't been giving her sippy at night, so that way she doesn't pee, and she's doing great. But last 2 nights, I can't remember, we gave it to her for some reason, and then last night, like, she didn't have it until like 4 in the morning, and she's like, can you go get a sippy? And I was like, all right. So I go out, I got the sippy, I got the cover, but I can't find that little plastic thing that goes in there that keeps it from running out, And I look and I look and I look, and I'm like getting pissed. I'm like, for real, like you washed it, the sink's right here, it's right here, it's got to be right here. So I bring it, and Angie's like, oh, it'll be all right. And of course, yeah, first thing she goes like this, she's like, oh, I got milk all over me, and I could feel bad. So she had to like sit up and drink it a little bit, and then for like at least a half hour, she was kind of. Andrea got up like 5 times with her. She got in bed with us for a few minutes, and then she decided she wanted to go back to bed, and so it was a rough. It wasn't just here. Here's a sippy, go back to sleep. It was one of these. She was up for a while, and the whole time I'm like, I gotta get up early. I gotta get up early. I gotta get up early. And most people out there are like, you gotta get up at 6:30. That's early. I get it, but
I got up at 6 today. Nikki worked out before she went to work. I've been sleeping on the couch, so I haven't been wearing my sleep apnea mask. So if I start falling asleep while you're talking to me, it's not personal. It's just that I haven't been wearing my mask just because my dog is not doing well, and I'm not. I don't know. I laid there with him last night, and he was alive this morning, so that's good. But I think his legs are hurting him because he cried out in pain, like maybe he twisted something just because he has real bad arthritis and he's old. He's 16 years old.
it's probably getting that time, huh?
Yeah, I just can't accept it. The last time I had a dog put down, my face was paralyzed the next day. So,
What if putting this one down unparalyzes your face?
I don't think it would, man.
No, I don't think so either, but
This is a good dog. I got him in 2008.
he reminds me of Resident Evil, the dog from there. He's
I
just
call
like,
him dry bones because his spine. I mean, he almost looks like a Spinosaur. Like most people would say, I am a cruel person because he might should have been put down already. But
no,
I mean,
he
he plays with the other dogs.
Yeah.
He's just old, and
he's
some
just
days
starting
he
to
has.
get to where he's in some pain and stuff. No, he's not.
I mean, yeah, some day. Like the other day, he wasn't as bad as last night, but like you could tell because the puppy's kind of rambunctious, and so I think the puppy, when he plays with him,
Oh yeah,
he'll bowl him over, and then the old dog is not prepared to land.
So I gotta get Jingles fixed because she's a female, and that's female issue, been an issue at the house, and female dog, man, male dog is so easy compared to that. I mean,
I don't know though, because he's starting to, now that he's about 8 or 9 months old, 8 months old. He's starting to.
does it hump your leg and stuff?
No.
So yeah,
If he did that, then I would probably take him. Well, I don't know though. Like I feel bad because I don't know. I just feel bad doing that. I watched a lot of Price is Right whenever I was a kid.
So now
My granny would watch me, and so Bob
Anti-spay,
Barker
neuter.
would always. Well, he was all about spaying and neutering.
yes,
And then after we did it to JJ 7 or 8 years ago, I've just felt guilty for some reason. It didn't feel right. Like my other dogs, no big deal. But
well, so once we get her fixed, which reminds me, I need to call and set that up so that way we don't have to worry about the whole monthly thing anymore. Then they should definitely get together with your dog and play because, I mean, she's 2. She's 2, but she's still a puppy. They'd be good. It's nice because now we let her outside. We have Alan brought over his shock collar boundary thing, and it took a little getting set up. First time we put it on, I don't know if I talked about this on the air. I don't think I did.
a little bit.
A little bit, yeah. We shocked him or under the table, and we're like, "What the hell are you doing?" Like, unplug the
Yeah,
thing,
on
and
too low of a setting. Allegedly.
yeah. So it was like so close that no matter how close she got to it, she was not where she should have been. And ever since then, she's been great outside. Like my neighbor will walk by, and they're walking their dog, and she'll go right up to where she can't go any further, and she'll bark, which is annoying, and it irritates me. And I get it. Like as a neighbor, probably thinking like this stupid dog, but she won't go. Like she won't leave the yard. She stays right there. The sucky part is we'd like to get it so that she could go down the barnyard and stuff, but in order to do that, I'd have to put the unit because it's just a circle. So the unit would have to be like
in the middle.
yeah, which
And I don't know if
won't
that's
work.
big enough because my brother has one of those because I brought it over here and set it up, and his dog wouldn't go outside because, like, it's good for the front yard. It was good for the side, but where I had it, like, as soon as they came out on the driveway, it shocked the living bejesus out of them. So, like, they didn't want to go back to the car even though I had it turned off. So you got to be careful when you're using those things. My brother said that the one he has where it's like GPS, he said it's working pretty good now.
Yeah, what's it? Caesar Malone's call or whatever. That's
Milan,
yeah.
whatever.
So if this was worked, so it might be worth down the road. I mean, that's things about $1,000. I think they're expensive, but we would like it just so we just want her to stay on the property. I do not care. She can run all she wants. She can go out back. Just want to stay on the property, and
Well, it's kind of hard for her
to know what
to
the
know
property lines are.
if you don't have a fence up.
Right.
So you got to like.
But she knows she shouldn't be run down the road.
Right.
And if she didn't have the call, the first thing she would do now is run down the road, and run up and down the road, and like.
Yeah, that's not good.
No, I don't want to get hit, and I don't want another neighbor to feel like because she seems aggressive.
And you got a lot of
She's
people that
not.
walk out there.
Lots of people walk. So, like I said, she seems aggressive. She's not aggressive at all. She just wants to play. She'll come up to you and bark, and she wants to play because she's still really a puppy, you know. And but I don't want.
Yeah, I've never seen her even growl at a human. You know what I'm saying? Like she'll play, like if you have a rope, and she'll play.
Right. Yep. No, I mean Tony Tammy
and
came
talk
in.
to you or whatever. But you know what I mean?
Right.
Like she's. But I get it. You don't want your neighbors thinking, "Oh my God, these
Right.
guys are their mangy wild dog." But anyway, she doesn't look like she has mange. She's a beautiful dog.
Right. Yeah.
I
No,
love
she
your
just
dog. I think she's cool.
she just yeah. You don't want your neighbors to think like, you know.
Yeah, you want them to be able to walk up and down the road
Absolutely.
in peace because
Yes.
then they're going to sit there and animosity build up. And at the end of the day, Jingles is a really nice dog. She just
Right.
wants to.
And I think maybe once she gets fixed, that will maybe calm her down a little bit too. I don't know. I mean, she's something like the worst dog traits in her. She's husky. Huskies are beautiful. Love huskies, but they are the worst dog on earth. They are just horrible because they get into trouble constantly. They like to run away. Like they just every husky. So Alan has huskies and has issues. Now, no offense, Alan, I love you, but you're not really a good dog owner, right? Like you're a good dog owner. You're very responsible. You're like very whatever.
But he seems to be
Loves.
loving.
Yes,
but
yes,
like he
yes.
doesn't discipline.
Yeah, he's
like
not.
the training.
Yes.
Where
No.
I sit there for an hour with a dog
Yes.
working on the same thing because I have patience and
Yeah.
I have the time.
So his dog's getting lots of trouble. Well, my dog Jingles has husky in her, shepherd in her, and also boxer in her, which I love boxers. However, boxers are the same. They're pretty adventurous and like so. She had all these dog traits in her that are like, yes, let's run down the road. Let's go look for whatever I can get into trouble with. And so hopefully, so far it's been working real well. She like stays in the yard and it's easier to get. Well, it's hard getting her in the yard because once she goes like oh, the dog ran down the road, pre-call her. I was like, well, just waste your time. Don't even. It was so funny. I sent Lydia out one day. Yeah, go get her. She come back so pissed, and of course we thought it was funny, and Lydia did not think it was funny because she tried for like an hour to get the dog, and listen, the dog's kind of like that cow. The cow's not coming back over unless it wants to. The dog's same way, unless you can catch it, which good luck because she's pretty fast.
Yeah, dogs are pretty weird too. It's almost like she knew that. Yeah,
She knew that she wasn't supposed to be doing it. Then she said, I'm in trouble no matter what, so whatever. And then this is a game, so let's keep the game going.
yeah. I had a dog like that. Didn't want to be in the yard unless I didn't care that he was out of the yard.
Right.
Right? Like, so if I didn't chase him and act crazy, then all of a sudden he would be like, well, what's going on? And he would start making his way closer back. It's almost like a child with, reverse
Do not
psychology.
touch that.
Yes.
And they just want to touch one. Now, if you just said nothing, no big deal.
Right.
Yeah.
That's always that's always a double-edged sword, right? Do you say something? Because if you do, then you bring attention to it. Because deep down, if you don't say anything, odds are they're probably not even going to notice it. But the second you say something, you kind of ruin it.
Yeah.
I deal with that quite a bit.
So, yeah, anyway, so I got the carpet almost ready to go down and hopefully be in there maybe tonight. I'm open. It'd be nice to have our room, and so we're making good progress. I mean, it's not,
Yeah, it was looking good last night.
things aren't going the speed I would like, but that's just me. Like,
Yeah, you just kind of, like you envision that it's not going to take you more than
right.
a few weeks because it's this, and this, but then you hit a snag with every time you turn a corner. It's like, now you got to go back to the store, you got to recut, you got to fix something. I get it.
Or it's like tough, like yesterday. So obviously ever since we moved in the house, I don't cut any lumber in the house because prior to that it was sawdust everywhere. It was a mess. We live there. We don't want any of that. So that's all set up in the garage, which I bought a vac system, which works good. I mean, I kind of more used it for a vacuum cleaner, and I had like a stupid amount of sawdust out there, and I still do. But I noticed, I think for my chop saw, I need another piece on it so that I don't know. So
an adapter so it'll clip on.
Yeah, so it'll be closer or whatever, and so I'm back to still using the freaking thing without that. The chop saw is not as bad. It's a table saw that really throws out way more, which that has a thing in the back. I probably could do something with it, but so yesterday I was doing the window trim and cut something and like crap, it's a little too long. So then I have to walk all the way back outside just to make that little trim. So stuff like that just takes longer. Like when you weren't living there, it was easy. It was just right there, And
Right.
her brother's like, "Why don't you just bring the stuff?" I'm like, "Can't. Like I don't want sawdust and everything everywhere. Like it's bad enough I got dust in the house still in the house. I don't know,
Right.
So I'm like, I don't want to deal with that. But
That's looking good. You're making good progress.
getting there, yeah, it is. It's getting there. I do. Was telling Fred, I was like, yeah, I kind of like sit back now and occasionally, because I'm not good at like noticing things and be like, hey, wow, like I don't look at my accomplishments usually and hey, that looks good. But a few times I've been like, man, this place was such a freaking shithole when we got it. And now I look at it and I think it's almost better than I envisioned it. Really, can't wait to get the floors done because once the floor's done, that place is really gonna.
Yeah, the floor. What are you going to do for the countertops?
So actually, I should message a guy. So there's a guy in Springfield. I want to do 2-inch live edge wood countertops.
Oh wow!
So basically, I'll take them. They won't be dry, so I'll need to bring them somewhere and have them slowly dry so they don't crack and stuff. And then I want to epoxy coat them so they'll really shine. Like it'll look really nice. That's been the plan for a while now. What's taking so long is at first I wasn't sure like what I had for countertops because I was still kind of building stuff, and then I finally reached out to him maybe a month ago at this point, and he said he was waiting for some parts for his machine or something like that. But so that's the plan. And then I guess Andrew wants me to take down the microwave, and she needs more cabinet space, which I kind of thought originally, but then so I was like, she's like, you're gonna kill me because it took me a little while to do that because I had to like cut the angles and stuff, but I'm like, it's fine. Like I think I might be able to move it right next to the range hood on the stove, and then still have cabinets in that corner that will give her some more cabinet space. But yeah, it's been a learning curve and stuff, but it's been fun to do.
Yeah, it's interesting to help and be around to I mean, I help you, but I'm not like Alan. You know what I mean? Like I'm there more as a move boards, gopher type stuff, but I'm learning a lot. That's the thing. And so like it's helping build my confidence up. So maybe I'll do some.
You can tell
like
I know our uncle gets pissed that I don't have him do stuff, and listen, it's like no offense to you. I don't have people help me do like. I was like, well, listen, like when Steve comes over, help me. Like we mostly just shoot the shit.
Yeah,
it keeps me company and makes it more fun, and it's yeah, some things like hey, we're doing the rafters and stuff. Well, that's different, but because I don't really have like our brother Fred and his kid and stuff are supposed to come up in a couple weeks, like help me do sheetrock in the garage, and even then I'm kind of like, I mean, I'd rather like if you guys can just do sheetrock because you know how to do sheetrock, then just here have at it, and I'll do other stuff. I just don't. I've always worked with my brother. Me and him can work on anything together, no issue. And it's not that I can't. It's just he knows how I think. I know, like you know what I'm saying. It's just so I've had a hard time sometimes working with people, or sometimes with Alan I kind of have a hard time because he'll half-ass stuff. Now if Andrew's right on him about like, no, you're gonna do this right, he won't because he can. He just likes to half-ass things, and so it's tough. And I've gotten a little better. At first, I was like, no,
I think y'all got him about trained though, because now he'll say what he wants to do the half-ass way that could get it done in seconds.
we could do it this way,
and then he's like, yeah, and then he'll do it the less quickly way or the more proper way. I guess is probably a better way of saying it. But I've been impressed with the amount of work that Alan's been able to help out with, and he always has a good attitude. So I mean, that's
He does.
you know what I mean. Like at the end of the day, if you got somebody helping you out, like you want somebody like Alan that when the gopher breaks his thumb because he's dropping boards on his head or his hands, he can just kind of laugh about it.
Yeah, no, and he's the type, you call him in the middle of the night or any time and you need something, he's gonna.
Did he ever get the quills out of the dog's mouths?
I haven't heard from him since then. Like, so me and you got as many as we could get out,
We got a lot.
but the second dog still has some in its mouth that we. Like, you
Just,
can't
yeah.
pull quills out when the dog's shaking it. Like,
And he's growling a little bit. Like, not that he was angry at it, but it hurts. As soon as you, like, even barely touch that quill, if you don't get a hold of it and pull, you're not going to get a... You know what I mean? Like, you can't sit there and be like, oops, oops, oops. It's like you got to get it, lock, and pull.
that was the first time I had to do that. And, I tried telling him, but he didn't really listen because he gave one of the dogs, I don't know, all kinds of something or other. But I was like, go get some of that CBD. I got it for dogs. Fred does it for his dog if he comes up here with him, because if not, he'll just howl the whole time. It just relaxes him. Maybe that will work. I don't know, because he called the vet. It was like $400 each dog.
It was more than that.
Well, yeah, one place was that, but some other places like,
1,200?
oh yeah, it was stupid money. I'm like, really? To give the dog like something to calm the dog down and then just pull him out, which is really easy to pull out. But hey, it is what it is. I mean, I guess like don't let your dog go out and play with porcupines, but
Sit up a little bit. Just check this out over there on the camera screen.
a little straighter. Got the monitor to work a little bit today.
Moose is looking good.
Yeah. Well, most people I can't see the moose when we put the little banner
Oh,
up.
that's right.
It's so funny. I just thought I bought that for Adelina.
You know, I watched a random video. A guy just had his helicopter, what are those called? Drone. He had his drone out, and then he caught a moose shaking off both paddles. He
That's
went over and
cool.
picked it up. But it was cool. So you can watch like how they shake it off and they just fall.
Yeah, it fell off.
Yeah.
Wow.
Never seen that before. Like, you know, like
Yeah.
anyway, that's cool. It's like, you know, those like 30-second clips that YouTube's trying to promote now.
But they don't promote our show.
Well, we have to make 30 seconds to like a minute long clips, which we can do as we get better and more focused on our discussions.
So I know something this morning. So I had to bring the kids to school, and they're like, "Oh, can we go to Dunkin'?" And I was like, "Fine, you're already late for school." So, so I brought them to Dunkin'. Lydia's like, "Are you gonna get something?" I'm like, "No, I don't. I'm good." So knowing I was gonna go to McDonald's, and so I stopped at McDonald's on the way here. Got you your number one. I got my number two, and. Are you like this? I noticed this for myself. So if I eat a cheeseburger, which I didn't, I had sausage McMuffin, obviously it's breakfast, but I am weird, like, especially with cheeseburgers, that's probably the biggest thing. The cheese always has to be on top.
I never really. I have sandwich weirdness, but not for like a hamburger. Like the hamburger just needs to be on the meat, or the cheese needs to be on the meat so it melts properly.
Yeah, it's just weird. It has to
Like
be
it
on
doesn't
top.
have to be on top; it just has to be on the meat.
It's so weird. And I wonder if other people have that same, like, thing where it's like, I mean, we all have some weird food thing, but I just feel like that's kind of funny because, like, cheeseburgers are definitely, even my sausage McMuffin, the cheese, I'm trying to, cheese is on the top, I think, or.
Well, I know that whenever I walked up here and I saw that you had gifted me a meal from McDonald's, I was like, well, there goes my not eating, unhealthy food. We'll just leave it at that. So I ate unhealthy this morning, and I drank a Coke.
You drank the whole thing already?
Oh yeah,
Damn.
we don't do Cokes anymore around here.
You were really craving that
like
high.
if you go into my fridge, we have empty glass jars full of filtered water.
That's good.
So I walk around like with a glass jar. I don't know, probably
That's good.
30, 40 ounces, 48 ounces maybe. It's Martinelli's apple juice, which is really expensive, but it tastes different. You know what I mean? Like it tastes like if you and I were to go press some apples and
Ooh.
It's really good.
That's
Like,
really
Nikki
good.
doesn't allow me to drink any unless she pours it for me because I'm the kind of guy that will go chug a whole bottle like I would do the water. But, you know, like the water bottles are good size. I almost brought it up here, but I had a coffee cup. I don't know what I did with it.
It's over there, cough cup. Yeah, we went to a place once and it was like a wagon ride at a farm, and then they we hand pressed apples for apple cider, cider. So good.
We need to get some apple trees planted this spring or fall, whenever the best time to do it is. Like, we need to do it because I looked up
I love
best
apples.
crops to grow in New Hampshire, and like the first thing that came up was like New Hampshire's known for its apples.
Apples are so good. That's true. We really
It did
should.
not mention cucumbers though. After apples, it said root vegetables.
Potatoes.
Yeah, so which I grew very well
You
in my
did
garden.
very well.
The radishes grew very well in my garden.
Yeah, I feel that.
I think you just let them grow too long. Like, you got to pull them
Yeah.
up. Yeah, I think you like. Whenever you went and I was watching it, I should have pulled them all up because they were probably ready to go then. Because they don't get very big,
Yeah.
or like thinned them out a little bit so they would grow a little bit bigger. Because yours were a little bit, you know, because
They're
you
really
did like I did,
compressed.
with like you
Yeah.
throw the seeds, and then I feel guilty because I'm like, maybe they'll. Because you can see videos where they'll be like 5 or 6 bunched up and they grow perfectly fine, and then you go into my garden and 5 or 6 and they're all tiny little undeveloped. Granted, I don't put a bunch of chemicals. I don't use any chemicals. I try not to. You know, like,
Yeah, the only chemicals I had to use, I don't know if it was an organic one or not, but some bugs that were trying to eat the
I
stuff.
remember you did that.
But I had no choice because if not, it's either no vegetables or that. So
Well, I'm trying to get it prepped so that we don't eat McDonald's anymore. And then the other thing I did, I've been researching a chicken coop.
you gotta get chickens.
Yeah.
My chickens are now, it's official. I can now say this, that they're laying eggs.
Did you change their food or anything, or is it just
No,
because the sun?
it's just that extra.
So, are they making a big deal about all this? Is it because
Oh,
I saw
totally.
something where they're going to do like independent. They're going to look at the different makeup of the food coming from Tractor Supply, but like I hadn't really seen enough. I've seen some videos where people were saying it's true, but I also know that in the winter egg production goes down unless you add a heater and a light normally because they need.
From what I know, and I'm not like some freaking
No, we're learning.
amazing chicken farmer or any of that stuff, but my parents have had chickens for many years now, and my dad says the reason they don't lay, usually in the winter, is because there's not enough daylight. So if you put a light out there, you just need that little, like right now, we have that little extra, hour probably?
Yeah.
It's not dark at 4 anymore, so it's enough that they'll lay. And you do have to give them, at least Andrew says you have to give them the layer pellets. That I don't know. I've never tried it just with corn. So I don't know. But I know from what I've been told.
Somebody would say they were using goat feed, and then somebody said I tried that. Then they ate all the corn, and only the corn and the goat feed. But then they came back and like the next day and said they ate all the rest of it because they were trying to
Yeah.
see. So like that, I'm suspect of just the whole chicken thing. Now, granted, the one in Connecticut just caught fire. You saw how that burned down.
Was that the one in
One
Connecticut?
of the largest egg
third
producers.
largest,
Yeah.
Well, it's.
So I'm sure our egg prices are going to go up if it's in Connecticut. It's only an hour and a half away.
I mean, so there's this new study come out. Eggs supposedly give blood clots and all that, and so they're probably just trying to, limit
get
that.
rid of the blood clotting eggs.
Yeah, I mean, only could be eggs, nothing else. But if you notice, I mean, we're now old enough that eggs were bad at one point. Eggs are good. They always are
So
constantly. doing
I
this
read
stuff.
something that said in the 70s that Nixon had asked them. That we talked about that. I want to say 8 months ago. So I don't have the source in front of me, but it was on a prior episode of ours. But Nixon had come out and said, "Hey, let's make it so that it doesn't have that big of a cost effect at home." And then the next thing you know, a report was let out saying that it causes high cholesterol and heart attacks.
Yep, it's all a game.
Allegedly. I must say that because you never know what's true. You know what I mean? Like, you get hit with so much information, you got to discern for yourself. So a lot of times it's hard to put up the information because you might read it and see something differently. But I encourage you to go research it. You know what I mean? Because you might see it differently than me.
There was a scenario the other day.
I doubt it, but you might.
It was an Einstein thing too. And when you come out with a theory of relativity, there was a paper or something that came out from 100 scientists basically saying that he's full of shit. And he said, well, if I was wrong, it would only take one of them scientists to tell me I was wrong, not 100. So when you try to do that, like all these doctors,
there's
all
so
these-
much dogma out there.
Yes.
Like there's religious dogma, there's health dogma, there's
it's crazy. So yeah, so that
Everything.
egg place burnt. Originally, I said your egg prices are going up because of the bird flu, which I heard a little bit about it at one point, but I mean, come on. So I've noticed no chicken shortages in the supermarket
Yeah.
yet.
Well, that, you're saying it, I'm sure.
Yeah. So
It'll come this week.
eggs, I don't know, what are they, like $7 a dozen up here?
Depends on
I mean,
free range, organic, non
so when you
injected, allegedly.
when I'm, a lot of people don't flash around their money and stuff. They drive around these nice cars, and
So I saw those eggs at your house last night. So those are
Did
from
you
your.
steal them?
I
Yeah.
thought about it, but I didn't know because there was something written, so I didn't know if that
just
somebody
said 2
gave them to you.
dozen. No, those are like washed that we just gotten. Yeah, so I think I'll drive around with eggs on my windshield and be like, yeah, pimping around, Asked, well, just crazy. You see all these memes on Facebook about eggs because they're stupid expensive, and so I actually may get to the point soon, as long as I keep laying, that I'll be able to sell eggs. Maybe now maybe they're so expensive, people actually take me up on the offer. I think we're going to sell them for like $4 a dozen,
Yeah, I mean,
which for us is great because it literally just helped cover the cost of the feed. And I'm going to definitely get more chickens this summer because I didn't.
that's what I was
tell that
thinking.
story.
Even if I only got like 3 or 4, you just
Yeah, you only need a
you don't eat them for the first few days, and then they just start building up after that, right? Because then
Yeah.
you get 3 or 4.
Then every day they'll lay an
Yeah.
egg. So if you have 4, you should get 4 every day. It's usually very rare you don't. So it adds up quick, and then before you know it, I mean, I've had times where I'm like, what am I going to do with these eggs? Like,
Yeah, we went through a lot of your eggs.
yeah. I mean, you could.
It's a lot of $4 dozens I owe you. That's why I come and keep you company and
Well,
go for all your tools so you don't have to walk as much.
so speaking of the chicken story, so my daughter Alicia the other day showed us a story of a chicken, or a rooster rather, on Facebook attacked this girl that was like 4 or 5 or 4 probably, I don't know. She was a little older than Adelina, and then she had like bad scratches on her face and stuff, and close to her eye, which is scary. So they had, killed the rooster, and then there's a picture of the little girl eating the chicken nuggets. So it's just funny, like that, Well, our rooster's been getting more and more aggressive. I don't know. We started out great, really nice, beautiful rooster. Really, no issues at all. But then the last couple months, like every time you go in there, usually after you're like starting to leave, he kind of come at you, which, whatever. I'm already done doing what I got to do. So we went in. When I come back, or Tuesday. No, it was I don't know, Friday. I don't remember. One of these freaking days. They all blend together. I'm sorry, but I think it was Friday, and so me, Andrea, and Adeline went down to feed the animals, and I said to Adeline, "It's like, hey, do you want to go feed the chickens?" Because she loves to get the eggs. Like that's her thing, and she hasn't been able to do it because we haven't had eggs, and they're finally starting to lay. So I was like, all right, let me go in first into the coop. So I go in and. Seemed okay at first, and I dumped the food down, and then he just keeps coming at me, and I like kick him, and he keeps coming at in the eggs. So they have their boxes up off the ground like 2 feet or something like that, and there wasn't enough shavings in them, so I laid them on the floor underneath. So for me to get the eggs, or for her to get them, you're gonna have to get down. Your face is gonna be here to and I'm like, there's no way. So even when I like hit him to like, hey, back off, he just kept like super aggressive. I'm like, I am done with this bullshit. So I said, Adeline, I took her hand and we left the chicken coop. I said, go and see mommy. I go in my truck, get the same gun I had to shoot the cow, and no more Mr. Rooster. And I was like, I will not sit here, talk on the show, and be like, oh yeah, my daughter got attacked by a rooster and now needs surgery or some crap. I'm like, no, you're dead. I don't give a shit. So I threw him outside, and I was like, you know what? I thought about just screw it. I'll leave you out here. Some animal's gonna eat you. But then I was pissed. I was like, no, I'm just gonna freaking shoot you. So, yeah, that was. So now I'm at 2 animals I've had to put down. One was because it was suffering, and that really sucked. The rooster, I hated to put the rooster down, but I'm not gonna have an animal like
Yeah,
that.
you don't want him to attack you.
You wouldn't keep a dog that bit you or bit somebody. It's the same kind of thing, and roosters are famous for it. I don't know. Usually they're just but my was it Andrew I think was saying, or my mom, I can't remember, one of them was saying it seems like the prettier the rooster, the more aggressive it is, because he's such a pretty rooster.
He was good looking.
He was, and at some point we'll probably try to get another rooster because I would like to fertilize eggs and raise my chicks that way. Because I've had no luck with getting chicks from places. It's, but yeah. So then I explained to Adelina, explain the cow, how to put her down because she's sick, and tell her she's up with Pop-Up in the sky, and the chicken. I was like, what am I gonna say about the chicken or the rooster? And I was like, well, why did we put her down? Rooster attacked me, and she's so cute and she talks, and I've explained to her we put her, we kill the animal because she was aggressive and not just for fun or whatever, and but she's so cute. And I told her, and I said it is kind of circle life because. I shot her and left her there, and a raccoon or a fox is going to take her away, or a coyote, and they're going to eat her, or eat him, rather. And
did you at least take him away from the chicken coop so they don't know where the chickens are?
No.
They're going to eat him, they're going to sit there and keep testing your wire to see where the weak spots are. I watched a video where a hawk got in. Somebody had it wired, the whole run. It was a bigger run, and the hawk got into a little edge and attacked a hen, but then the rooster came out and attacked the hawk. Well, so the rooster will do its job.
Yeah, well, he didn't do his job when the other 7 chickens disappeared over the fall.
Well, he might have messed them up a little bit, I'm sure.
He probably flew to the top, looked down.
Not if he's coming at you. If you're bigger than any animal that came in there and got those chickens. So he probably put up a fight. He's probably a pretty good boy. He got too aggressive after those attacks. I'm sure it got him.
I think that's what definitely changed him.
He's probably in fight mode more than flight mode.
I can see why they fight chickens down in Mexico and stuff, and I don't condone that. I think it's okay, but damn, they're aggressive. And they got some big old talons and stuff on them. It's pretty crazy. I wouldn't want to be. I mean, he actually put a hole in my muck boot.
Wow.
Towards the top, I was like, what the hell? There's a puncture in it. So I luckily didn't feel it, but I looked after. I was like, shit, he put a hole in that. So, yeah, so no more Mr. Rooster, but there's no way I'm going to let my daughter, who likes to get the eggs, who enjoys this, go there, and every time she go there, have to worry that, she's going to get hurt, because the hens are the sweetest things ever. They just, so, yeah. So I'm getting eggs and no more rooster.
Well,
it is what it is.
Yeah, at least you got eggs, man. That's the most important thing.
Yeah, I'm super happy about that because the animals are producing again, and the piglets still haven't gotten.
I mean, I would go to an egg-heavy diet. I would be having custard, angel food cake. I love angel food cake. Does it take 12 egg whites?
I don't know.
It's a lot. It's 10 or 12.
Only rich people can eat angel food cake right now.
Nikki makes, hey, give Nikki a dozen eggs and tell her you'd like some angel food cake. Or ask her, don't tell her. Well, you could ask me. Don't tell me.
You would tell her. I would ask her.
Well,
yes.
I'm just saying I don't like to be told anything.
Yeah.
It's my personality trait. Can't tell me what to do. I did it for 25 years. I took orders, and now I don't. Other than in my role as school board member, I take feedback and act on behalf of them. That's a little bit different.
Yeah, speaking of school board, so this Saturday, deliberate session, 9 a.m., high school gym. You have to be a registered voter, but I don't know if you can register that day. So I would just reach out to the town clerk. So I don't know about that. But yeah, so we'll go over all the warrant articles, talk about them. Then they do the vote, and then in March we have the actual election for the budget, for school board positions, town monitor, all those things. So if you live in Newport, please come out. And obviously voice your concerns or support, don't support, whatever you do, come out, let's talk about it. We'll do our best to explain everything with the budget, and yeah, hopefully we can get this thing passed in March. It's a little bit of an increase, but it's really just an inflation increase. It's not much. So the default budget's like an 87-cent increase, and then if the budget itself passes, it's $1.85, I think. Yeah, $1.85. And we've gone through the budget. There's no pork. This isn't the federal budget where they just raise the debt ceiling and got a bunch of pork in there. This is like adding 2 teachers that were caught a couple of years ago. So you go from 22 teachers in high school to 16. And I had asked the question, like, who the hell was smart in this room, which was none of the people in this room, it was a whole different board, but that said, hey, we got to save some money. Let's cut some teaching positions. Like, what?
Yeah,
That's the only purpose for you to go to school is to teach. So let's take away the one thing they need. Like, you could get away with not having paper, not having a pen, not having a computer. You could still teach. If you have a textbook, you could teach. You could teach with a freaking candle if you didn't have electricity. You could teach anywhere, anyhow, right?
yeah. I mean, they did it back in the old days.
But if you take the teachers out and you get rid of teachers, you got nothing.
No. I want to say Miss Martin said 30 some odd students have a full schedule
32 have full schedules. That's it.
out of 280 some
Yep.
odd high school students.
Yeah.
So just over 10%. So that's part of the budget
Yes,
the board
there's-
is putting forward.
Two teachers in there that put
So-
back in the high school, so there'll be 18 instead of 22 that there was. Obviously, can't add that all back in 1 year,
Right.
whatever. But it will definitely help with the serious need they have there because it's like she's already saying it's bare bones. I barely have what I can do just to get through the day.
And the teachers do a lot. Like you know what I mean? Like I've done it. I know how stressful it can be on certain days. The kid's having a bad day and can.
Yeah, it's not.
It's not easy. And the teachers, day in and day out, are
Well, they're not just teaching anymore. They got to act as a parent, act as a counsel, act as it's so many other facets to it that
right. It used to be you go to school,
you taught.
you learn, you go
Yeah.
to recess, you eat lunch, you learn some more, you get on the bus, and you go home. There wasn't much.
Yeah.
Like at least for me, it was schoolwork, recess, and then by the time you got to middle school, it was like you got more choices in your schedule, so it was kind of cool. So you got to take an elective or two.
Right.
Like you got to choose your class, and then by the time I got to high school, it was work and sports, like high school work, like classwork and sports.
No, it's just
Little student council.
it's
We
crazy.
did a lot more
know?
dances with my school. Like they don't hardly do any dances. Not that I didn't necessarily disagree with that, but we did a lot of dances in my school.
I think so much of it is. I think they would do more, but their staff's at such a they've
Yeah.
worn them so ragged as it is that how much more are you going to ask of the staff that volunteer because they don't get paid for it. Like it's not
Right. Some of them, like if it's a class event, then the class sponsor might get paid. But anybody else that helps, it's not a
but
class
it's-
sponsor.
no,
It's not,
it's-
they're volunteering, and sometimes they need to be told. Just like our maintenance crew needs to be told. Appreciate that they do day in and day out. The bus crew that's on. They're up early, checking the roads. It's not always a clean sweep because we don't have the best roads. For some reason, we don't have high-speed internet and we don't have passable roads in the United States of America in the year 2023. Unpaved roads. And then even the paved roads that are in this town are poorly kept. But the good news is they'll shut down a bridge if they don't like you, allegedly. I must say that for legal purposes, allegedly.
I don't think you have to say it. I think it was proven enough
Well, if
that
it
it
was
wasn't
proven,
even
then
alleged.
how come nobody's been fired? Somebody should be held accountable. And behind closed doors is not holding anybody to account. The citizens have a right to know. Are you trying to get me fired up? So I get fired up.
I wasn't, but now I'm like, all right, let's
Just
do
be
it.
truthful and honest. If somebody comes and asks me a question about anything with the school board, if I don't know the answer, I'm going to say, hey, I don't know. but give me a couple days, give me your email or something, and I'll get back to you.
Mm-hmm.
Right? It's a little bit easier to do it one-on-one than in the grand.
So,
You know what I mean? Like, because when parents come up there, all of us are like, man, I want to look into that, or we're going to look into that. That's about all we can say, right? Because we're only getting one side of it, and it's not fair to the other side to immediately be like, oh, well, I'm on your side, right? Like when it's us versus them type of thing. Now, if it's a let's make the school better and let's look at these 9 things, it's a little bit easier to respond immediately. But whenever it's a he said, she said type of thing, or, you know, my word versus your word, then we can't really, because it's not fair to the other person. That doesn't mean that we don't necessarily not believe you, but with everything, there's always,
yeah, you got to look.
you got to get the whole picture, because
Yeah.
it might be miscommunication, and maybe no one really should be worked up over it. It was, but that's my point. That's
So we had on January 9th, we had a bullying forum that we did at the school. I went, Bert was there, Donna, principals, you know, whatever. And then about 20 people showed up, parents, maybe a few staff members, you know, students, a few things. It was good. It was, I mean, it was a good turnout. It was good back and forth, you know. But I had said that. So one of the things, I guess, that upsets parents is you never know what happens to the other kid. So this is happening. Whatever you know, it was just, basically you get told it was handled. You don't get told, oh, he was kicked out of school for 5 days. He got this detention. None of that. He, she, whatever. Which I was like, that's just bullshit. Like, why aren't you telling a parent, yeah, so and so that was bullying your daughter or son, got a detention, you know, whatever the thing is. Oh, because of confidentiality. I'm like, how's that fucking confidential? You didn't just say, oh, yeah, they have blood type this and they have, no, you just said, hey, they did a,
hey, look,
whatever.
confidentiality means nothing to me when people are walking around asking medical stuff out loud at a restaurant. Somebody that,
Yeah, you vaccinated?
yeah, like, look,
That's okay, though. That's all right.
and you feel bad though because they're like young. Men and
Oh, they
women.
don't want to
They're like-
ask.
They're
Yeah.
like 16 to 23 years old usually. You know, like the one that would be asking. It's like, why? What? No, I ain't telling you anything. You don't know anything about me other than I got money to spend. Do you want my money? Because I can turn around and walk away. And not enough people did that, obviously, because it lasted way too long in this country. In my own personal opinion, I'm not giving any medical advice.
Hey, we have the disclaimer at the front of the show now. We're good.
Well, we'll see.
Pound sand, if not, I don't care. But
Yeah.
so
I'm not saying anything crazy.
let's go back to what you're talking about. So the whole bridge thing. Come on, we all. If you didn't watch the meetings, go back and watch the meetings. It's all public. You see it right there, clear as freaking day, proven, 100% that somebody posted the bridge illegally because the only people that can post bridges are the selectmen. That's it. So, or post roads, I guess you'd say, post roads, which bridge, road, yeah. So, but nothing happened. Now, I was told that stuff was happened behind closed doors, and it sucks because we can't talk about it because it's behind closed doors. And I do understand that because on the board, there's things that we get told and we can't talk about. And I'm like, it's tough, right? But, however, this is bullshit because nobody got fired. And what did you do? Did you give him a slap on the wrist
How
behind closed doors?
upset must that family be?
How much money did it cost them?
Yeah, exactly. And, here's my thing. It's one thing if you make a mistake, but to sit back and prop your feet up in a chair and act like you're in charge, do you know what I'm talking about?
Mm-hmm.
All the time. Could you imagine if the superintendent propped her feet up and leaned back in her chair while we're trying to have a school board meeting?
No. I don't.
If she did, after the meeting, or maybe even during the meeting, I'd go there and be like, do you think it's professional for you to sit here with your feet propped up while the citizens of this town, even though there's only 3 of them out here in the audience, but these 3
There's some
people
watching though.
and then there's some people watching
Yeah.
on TV. Do you think it gives a good look for you with the amount of things that you have allegedly been accused of over the years to sit there and prop your feet up like you're in charge? Because that's a posturing maneuver to let all those selectmen, by the way, know who's really running things, and to let us as the town members know. Because if you had any respect for your position and the authority that they have been nice enough to bestow upon you, that they could probably vote and take it away, depending whatever is
They could.
in the RSA. But to sit there like that, could you imagine?
They could have. They should have, in my opinion, behind closed doors.
I just, to
Should
me,
have fired.
that's just disrespectful to sit like that. And so every time I see that, and then that person talks, it's like, why am I listening to you? Because you have no respect for this town. Because if you respected this town and its citizens, you would sit up straight and you would be attentive and you would be direct with your answers and you would correct anything that you're doing wrong and you would be a team player. That's my take on it. We're all a town, and you don't live in this town, but yet you're going to go around and act like you're in charge of this town by propping your feet up. That is disrespectful. It's straight up disrespectful. Could you imagine your boss walks in and starts talking to you, and you got your feet propped up, and you don't even once think about sitting up straight? I would fire you. I'd be like, oh, so you're in charge now? Because I am the guy who's fronting the money for all this, and you're sitting there like you're in charge. I guess you need to be reminded that you're not in charge. To me, it's a matter of decorum.
Yeah.
You want us to act right and be, respectful and everything else, and the different things they've said over the years of, let's keep it, whatever. Well, it's disrespectful to have your feet propped up on the desk while I'm talking. If you don't want to be here, go home and quit your job, but don't prop your feet up like you're in charge of something. That really bothers me.
That's all.
Well, I mean, but that's where it starts, right? Because now that's what you're projecting. So some people, it may not bother. They're like, yeah, whatever, he's comfortable. I mean, I caught myself sitting like this in the board meeting the other day with my feet kind of stretched out.
But
I got a bad back.
But that's just you.
But I'm also a
relaxed.
board member. I'm not,
Yeah, no.
I'm not, I live in this town and I'm asking questions and I'm comfortable.
Right.
You don't need to be comfortable. You need to be up and attentive and have the answers. And if you don't have the answers, go get the answers and provide the whole truth and nothing but the truth.
Yeah. If there was a lie detector test going on there.
Well, I don't know about that, but
We've watched
there's
them.
there's a lot of misremembering,
You think?
and it's always the other person that's misremembering. That's my take on it.
I've sat there and watched these things and want to throw something on my TV because I want to interject in here and be like, wait a minute, you just said that and you said this and you can prove this, and I'm like, you're full of shit.
Well, it's kind of like, the step system. You can't do a proper budget. Like, everybody in the government works on a step system. Even at the school,
The
everybody's
school's
on a step system. Every government agency is a step system. And I got them, well, we can't do this. It's so hard. It's like, it's very easy because at so many years, this person gets a raise. And so it takes 6 seconds to be like, when did they start working here? And then you got to calculate time and days or years or months, whatever. And then you're like, oh, we're gonna need $6,000 more. He's getting a raise this year.
Well, think about it.
So your budget increases by $6,000. It's that simple.
We just brought a teacher in last week at the meeting, right? Good thing we know how to do. Well, Diane, whoever did it, knows how to do math because it's prorated for this amount. It's not. Oh, here's your whole salary because we don't know what to do if they're a couple months into
I know
this
these
thing.
step programs are so crazy.
Confusing here, so
Make it so hard to do a budget because get out of here.
Crazy. Yeah.
I'm just saying, you want people to lighten up and have talk with some dignity and respect towards you, then sit up straight. Be attentive. Be forthright.
It's like when we do public comment or
Do
whatever.
things on the best interest of the town, not you and whatever else you think you're doing it on, but the town. The town comes first, not the federal government. I'm just saying, it goes back to the FAA. You see, now it all goes back to you have experts telling you one thing, and then you're going to sit there and say, no, that's not correct. I talked to one guy, and they said it's easy, so we're doing it this way. And then they all vote with you. They don't even have let's pause on this for 2 weeks, and let's get some more information. Let's trust our experts.
I just saw something on the FAA.
I mean, when the
FAA,
teachers union gets up and speaks, my personal opinion is all right, well, let's see what they have to say, because maybe they're, we're missing something or whatever, right? We don't just be like, I talked to a board member over in, wherever, and they said it's fine, so get over it. Right? Like, that's the kind of stuff. Like, look, I talked to this teacher that I know, and they said it's good, so no. I don't know what else you want me to say. You're misremembering it, but they said it was good, so it's good. Oh, okay. You're going to cede control from a state-owned or controlled, whatever, regulated airport to the federal government. What kind of craziness is that?
Just because you want their money.
Yeah.
Our money, but yeah.
Money's tight, but like have an actual conversation about it, because even in that conversation, it wasn't quite clear exactly how much it was, because it was like, well, with the state, you get $200,000 every 4 years, and with the FAA, they just send you the money. Well, then, like, fix it every 4 years then, right?
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, I might be missing some of that. I understand that, but like at the end of the day, like my personal opinion as a citizen is that the selectmen failed us by not doing more research and just immediately.
Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah, it was supposed to
immediately
be
discrediting what the people who worked at the airport said.
Right.
Do they still work there, or do they all leave?
I don't know. I think they're still there, but
See, I would have left. I'd have been like, good luck there, Bubba.
Yeah, it's
if it's that stressful.
I mean, I could see his point, and I did. I
understand.
I see what he's saying.
I totally see it, but there wasn't a good enough conversation had. It was discrediting them. I get what he's saying. Like, I'm not saying it's all bad.
No.
I know that there's good things.
Right.
And we might, the selectmen still might have went with his recommendation, but from my perspective, they owed the town better research and feedback when you have the town manager and the airport manager telling you two different things. That night, you didn't have to make a decision. It wasn't pressing. It had to be made that night. Even the town manager said it didn't have to be done that night.
Right. And it said on the agenda, it said informational. It became an action item, and it wasn't informational.
And then the truth came out when he said, you'll have to vote to stop me. So now it went from informative, which I guess that was his way of informing, like he's just going to do this. But, like, you have the authority to disassociate from state and move up to federal. Like, you have that authority. There's no vote. There's no discussion. Like, we've given that much authority to one individual that doesn't even live in this town and has no loyalty to this town. From my perspective, the loyalty is lacking because he doesn't live here. That doesn't mean he's not looking out in some ways, right? He's trying to save money. He's doing what a bureaucrat does. It's dollars and cents.
Right. But we don't need
like
dollars and cents in Newport. We need thought and what's best for Newport, history of Newport.
Discussion about it. Like, at least to have a discussion, because the way that discussion left me was that we didn't do the right thing.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's...
That's my point. Like, it might have been the right thing, and it might be in the long run. Right. But the fact that you discredited... It was basically... The town manager had one source or whatever, one example that it wasn't that big of an issue. And then he said the airport manager's using one example to say that it was bad. Right? So, like, but you're both using one example. That's, to me, was why it garnered more discussion and debate and research from the selectmen to talk to somebody other than town managers. Like, talk to other selectmen and say, hey, have you seen any difference? How's it looking in your town? Are you glad that you did it? Like, have that one-on-one feedback. Because it didn't seem like the selectmen did that based on the conversation.
No, so
that's my take on it. I've talked about it for 9 months now, or 6 months, which ticks me off.
Back to, for instance, the school board. So if Donna says something, we obviously take it as like, this is truthful, right? She's never lied to us about anything, or obviously that we are aware of, right? So so the select board goes to the town manager, and the things you say, they're just supposed to be like, no, this is the truth, everything, right? But there's been too many things in the past I've seen, like, but even on the school board, even though I trust what she says, I still try to go to other sources, because that's your take, just like on the meeting on Thursday. and the bullying thing, and like she gave the presentation and whatever, and you know, questions, and I'm like, I want to know what Steven thinks. Well, why did I do that? Because Steven's in the school, Steven's a student, and he knows, right? He knows more than
Yes,
the
there's
teacher.
a student representative on the board.
Yes, Stephen
His
Emery.
name is Stephen. Yeah, Stephen Emery.
He's a really good kid. I know his dad, his mom, and his grandfather worked with him too. And but anyways, he's a great representative, I think, for the for the school. He's that like middle of the road kind of kid that he's like a band kid. So he honestly reminds me a little bit of me in school. Like I wasn't popular, but I was known by everybody. And I feel like Steven's kind of the same way because he's involved with a lot of things at the school. And so I want to know what he thinks. I want to technically, I didn't say this, but after I really want to be like in my head, I was thinking, I want to know what Mr. O thinks, who had showed up, because those are the people I want to hear from about this, because they're in it every day. They deal with it every day. And, Steven made a good point. It's like, 4 years of school I've been here, in high school, I don't know any kids got actually served with detention and in school suspensions, basically vacation. And I was so happy and proud that he said that, because like that's what I want. I don't care what the truth is. I want the truth 100%. I don't care if it's
You
gonna
don't care what
offend
the
people.
truth is in the sense of you don't care if it's offensive.
Yes,
or
exactly.
You want the truth. You care about the truth.
I want the truth.
You don't
Yes.
care if it's going to hurt.
Don't give me your
break something up or anything else.
Exactly. Don't give me your, well, I don't want to get so-and-so in trouble, so I'm going to give you this sugared down approach. No, I like straight up people. Now, there's some people I know that are like straight up, and it's like, I get along with them, but I'm like, your personality is like, eh. But I respect you so much more if you're straight up. You're like, you know what, Tim, your show sucks. I'm like, well, too fucking bad. Don't watch it. I don't care. Like,
Yeah, we've gotten that feedback from a few people.
yeah, we have. But I would rather have that person straight up with me say that and then run their mouth behind my back. And no, I just be truthful and honest with someone. And I feel like that's so hard to find nowadays in society, because everyone's feelings are going to get hurt. Yeah, it might hurt my feelings, but oh, freaking well, I'll get over it and we're going to move on, because that's life and that's reality. And so when I asked him his take on it, I was so happy, because he didn't hold back. He just straight up said what he thought. And I thought that was awesome. And it added so much to, so I was like, well, then now I'm going to go back into board mode. And I'm like, why the hell aren't we holding these kids accountable? And then some more stuff was said, and it just kind of pissed me off more, because it's the whole, I had said, okay, kids want to bully, then fine, those two kids will work together the rest of the year, and they're going to learn to like each other, and they're going to learn to not, he or she's not going to, be a bully, whatever. Oh, we can't do that because, that's putting them together, and that's like the victim. And I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? Like, this is the problem in today's society, is you're trying to make the victims the victim, and then the person that's actually doing the thing they shouldn't be doing, whether it's bullying, stealing, whatever, they're also a victim. Not everyone's a fucking victim. You're not a victim, okay? Put them together, make them work this out. What do you think happens when they're 18, they get out into the real world? What do you think happens? Every day they go to work and they hate this person because they don't like dealing with this person.
What would you do if you had somebody like that when you ran the sewer business?
If I had an employee that way,
Yeah.
I would fire them.
Would you even have a discussion, or would you say, hey, I've noticed that you're not really getting along, or you got a little bit of attitude, or would it just be like, hey, look, you're not working out here, your attitude is detrimental? Like, would you give them like a warning and like, hey, this is the real world now, like you're not in...
Depending on the value of the employee. If they were just like a laborer that has been there for a couple months and whatever, it would be different than if they were there for a couple years and they were really valuable. Would depend on that, because if you've been here and it contributed very little and I don't see much value in you other than that position, I'd just be like, because I don't need that bullshit, right? You don't need that in your company. But every day people go to work and have to deal with someone they don't like. And that's just, so instead of teaching them
teach
how
them
to
coping and communication skills and like how to get past whatever it's bothering them.
Because I can tell you right now, the person that's bullying at work doesn't give a shit about your home life, doesn't care where you came from, doesn't care that you didn't have much money, mom was a crackhead. They don't care. But there's another way to find common ground with them and be like, hey, listen, I'm not as bad of a person as you think, or whatever. Because that's a lot of it, is if the person being bullied got to know the bully and the bully got to know the person being bullied, you probably realize you're really not as different as you think.
Right.
And you'd be like, it's right. I don't like feeling that way either. So I probably shouldn't do this, right? No, we can't do that. We're going to, send you to the counselor and they'll, give you a bunch of bullshit.
It's kind of like
blah.
people were calling Bert a bully,
right,
on the board
for
or
standing
whatever.
his ground.
But it's like he is trying to get his point across. You're not letting him finish his point. You're actually being the bully by not letting him finish.
Right.
But to sit there and call him a bully because he wants to hold people accountable, that's not being a bully. That's just being, in my point. Now, if he's using derogatory language
right.
at you and he's insulting you or anything else, like, okay, there's some bullying aspects in there. However, like it's just because you disagree with someone and you want to make sure that you finish making your point doesn't make you a bully.
No, it's just another word you throw out, like,
yeah, it's to try to
it's
to try to get people to stop doing and like
I'm a bully.
It gives you the position of power, which is what it's all about. It's about this perceived power struggle that people are having, and it's like some people are smarter than others, some people are better builder than others, some people are better communicators than others. Mm-hmm. It's just life. And I feel everybody has their own special thing that they're good at.
Right. And I feel like I've been out of school.
I hope
21 years this year. Okay, and which is crazy. But I look at so for at least 21 years, it's been happening a little longer than that. But we've done it your way. Your way is in the sense that we'll get more counselors. We're going to do this. We're going to do it. We've done it your way. You've completely fucked the country up more than ever. Kids are so freaking docile about everything now. And it's not just their fault. So please don't think, oh my God, he's blaming the counselors. No. It's society in general. It's the social media. It's all that. But what we've done is we've taken everything and made it so it's like even the person that's doing the bully, well, they're really a victim too. And no, there's no accountability for nothing. There's no, we're going to put you together and you're going to work it out.
That's kind of like what you wanted to talk about today is, right? Blaming white supremacy for 5 officers. I'm just meeting a segue because we're already jump into like an hour.
So, all right. So I'm just going to throw this out right now.
So my segue was they're blaming, some in the media anyway, are blaming it on white supremacy. No white people were involved, right? So instead of holding these officers accountable, like they were bullies, right? So like they weren't even bullies; they were violent. They didn't listen. They didn't. You know what I mean?
Let me explain. So for people who don't know, well, first of all, here's a little viewer discretion because I'm going to go off on this. So if you're sensitive to different words and stuff, you probably should not watch the rest of the show. But so in Memphis, Tennessee, 5 officers beat this black kid to death. Basically, he didn't die right off. He was alive for 3 days in the hospital. Then he died. Tyree Nichols, 29-year-old man, supposedly was pulled over for reckless driving. Okay, okay, all right, give him a fine or whatever. So last week I texted you. I don't remember what day it was. I was watching something on TV and a special report come in, and it was Lester Holt or Lester whatever, and
Lester Holt was NBC News.
Yeah. So this whole thing where we've got the body cam footage from this, because I hadn't even heard about this until the body cam footage came out. And I watched it, and holy shit, they did exactly what they were looking for. They're looking to piss off people, because I was pissed. And if you've watched it, I don't know anyone that could not be pissed. I had said to you, if this happened in Texas and that those 5 guys weren't actual cops, I think in Texas and maybe in New Hampshire, but the stand your ground law so Texas is an interesting state because if your neighbor's house is being broken into and you shoot the robbers or people doing that, you're legally in your grounds because you're allowed legally to protect your property, your neighbor's property, that whatever. So I think these 5 people could have been shot. So if someone come up, you shot these 5 these are officers, but these 5 people, like I said, if they weren't officers, I think you legally could have shot them to defend the man on the ground that they were murdering. And I think you legally would have been within, and I'm not a lawyer, but watch the video. Like,
So you're saying there was no justice?
there
being
was
served?
no there was
At the end of the day,
nothing.
what you're saying is these guys were totally wrong, out of control,
Yes, these guys should be.
abuse of power.
These 5
from your
officers.
perspective.
These 5 officers should be charged with first-degree murder. They're being charged with murder. I'm not sure what it's going. I'm sure it'll be manslaughter or something. But so I see this, and the first thing I do is look for the story, and I look, and because they're showing like, they're starting to protest on the interstate or whatever, and I'm waiting to like, okay, how many white guys are in here? Because like the body cam footage, there's a few black officers, but I can't really, I don't know, no white officers. So I was like, part of me is like, whew, thank God, because Memphis won't burn to the ground. Because reality is, no one gives a shit when a black person kills another black person. Even if they're a cop, they only care if you're a white cop or an Asian cop. Anything.
Care in the sense of there'll be a
Yes,
reaction
correct.
publicly.
Al Sharpton will show up and launder more money from people as he. So, and
He
there's
never
been
pays taxes.
and there's been nothing huge about this, like George Floyd, a huge thing. I watched a video that a couple months ago of a black guy getting beat somewhere down in that kind of area, Arkansas or something. I mean, me and you watched it, and like, what the hell? And then I don't know if it was one black guy and 2 white. I don't know, but not to this degree though. Like, they still should be fired. They still should be charged. But this was.
Oh, you're talking about that one from a few months back? That we
Yeah,
on
in
the show?
Arkansas. It was like
It was
a
like
Dollar General or
It was
something.
a girl and a guy, right? And the girl was it the girl that was out of control, or she was trying to calm him down?
No, the girl was recording it or something. Or I don't know. This one, the cop looked back and told the guy to shut off the effing camera and all this stuff. And I'm like, what the fuck are you, dude? Like, so this made me think too, like, because I've said this before. I don't know if I said it on the show, but like, people that know me, like, I don't believe racism is as big of an issue in this country as they make it seem on the TV, like in media. And I still do stand by that. I don't think it's nearly as bad as they say it is. Because if you look at it, it's everybody's a racist and all this. And I don't believe that for a minute. Racism's in your heart. It's not words you say necessarily. If someone uses the N word, oh, you're racist. No, it's not. That's stupid. Racism is in here. Racism is when you look at another person of different race than you are, and you're like, oh, I hate that person. Don't know that person. Don't know. I hate you because you're not.
Is it just hate, or is it I'm better and I hate you?
Yeah, I think all
It's
of it.
more
It's,
of a like a.
Yeah, it's
I'm
degrading to
automatically
yes,
like you're less because of your
Yeah.
color of your skin. That's racism.
and I don't believe there's as much of that in this country. It's there,
Yeah, there's some
100%. And I feel like in New Hampshire we are. It's tough for me in a way because we're 94% white, which isn't our fault. It is what it is. Like, I grew up, I had one black kid in my school. Okay, it's not. It is what it is. Like,
Well, I mean, yeah, it is until it isn't. It's probably your fault.
yeah, I'm sure
There's
somehow
some
it's
people
my
out
fault.
there that believe that.
Yeah. Well, here,
It's crazy.
this will go to the fucking Van Jones, who's the biggest piece of shit, anyways. But black people can harbor anti-black sentiments. CNN commentator argues former officers charged in Tyree Nichols' death could have been influenced by racism. They're fucking black, okay? There is no racist.
Well, there are. So there. I found this out when I was in the military. But even amongst blacks, there's a difference of skin color, and
Sure. Okay.
I can't really talk
Yeah, I
on
know
it because, I was there.
I know what you're saying.
I've heard the stories. And
Yes.
there is
Yes.
a difference.
Some groups of black people may not like mixed blacks because they're not really, what I'm saying?
Right.
I
mean,
get that.
There's all kinds of.
I get that. But this asshole's trying to spin it like
It's mine and your fault.
exactly. It's mine and your fault. Those 5 pieces of shit killed that guy. No.
It's their fault. They chose to do it.
And I found it interesting because when we watched the news video, the segment or whatever, breaking news, it doesn't say 5 black officers killed him. But I would bet everything I own, if it was white, it would have said 5 white officers beat this guy to death. Because the media wants to push the racism key. They want to piss people off. And as we're distracted by this, something else is going on somewhere else.
Yeah.
It's just typical,
Well,
right?
Epstein's list still hasn't been published.
Right.
Arizona
But-
election,
But then it kind of said to me, and this is the thing,
2020 election, allegedly.
when I talked to the guy in Philly, he was a black guy. I honestly, and I
Document dumps at all the ex-politicians out. You know what I mean? So there's a lot of stuff
Yes.
going on. And then now we have riots.
yeah, I haven't heard anything else.
Yeah,
It's gotten,
I don't know.
It hasn't been anything like the other stuff, but
they're not. They're trying to.
they're trying to fuel it.
spark it,
They're trying
yeah.
to push it. It's
Yeah.
breaking news. The body cam footage has been released. That's breaking news. I see breaking news. I'm like, oh shit! There's a missile coming from Russia.
Yeah,
to the-
breaking news should have been like, oh, these
Yeah.
5 officers have been arrested and charged.
Right.
That would be breaking news.
Sure. That's not, oh, here's the body cam footage. So you can watch this and be disgusted like the rest of us. And so it was in Philly. I really wanted to ask the guy that we got the car from. He was a black guy. I wanted to ask him, especially in Philly, because Philly's a big city with a high crime rate. And I really wanted to be like, hey, dude, tell me, like, what is racism like in America right now? Like, but it's perspective, right? My perspective, it's really not much. Well, because my perspective is not just because I'm white, but because of where I live. You could be white or any other minority or whatever. Or color. I don't give a shit what color you are. I don't care if you're purple. Oh, I care purple because then you need life-saving efforts. But, I don't care. So you could be white in Philadelphia and still have an opinion about racism and be like, oh, yeah, it's bad or whatever. But I watched a few different comedy things over my vacation too on Netflix, and I don't remember who I watched, but and they kind of said something about that, and these are like well-to-do people. Maybe it wasn't Cedric the Entertainer. It was somebody like, but this person had said, he's like, I worry about my black children getting pulled over by a police officer, and I'm very, very pro police, as everybody knows, and like, pro good police, absolutely, but if this stuff, oh hell no, I'd be the first. Like, I'll freaking throw the switch. As far as I'm concerned, they could execute all 5 of these officers.
I haven't watched it, so it's that bad. Like
I should have you watch it because then you would be fired up like I am. But they just straight up beat this guy to death with a baton out. And I mean, so what happens is they yelling and screaming at him, get out of the car. I think
But why would you get out of the car if he was reckless driving? Wouldn't you approach it?
Why would you ask him to get out? Like, exactly. You wouldn't even go up and... So unless they release footage from that point on and not like
what happened before that?
Right, because why is there 5 calls? I don't know. And once again, the media could also try to twist the narrative a little bit. Now, there's no way you can twist it enough that these guys are actually, not the piece of shit that I'm saying, that you can't twist that. But from what I see, the black man that got pulled over gets out and he's like, why are you yelling, screaming at me? Why? First of all, why are you even arresting me? What is going on? He doesn't look like some thug. He doesn't, none of that. It's not some gang bang
or anything.
No, he's on the ground and they're screaming at him, get on the ground. He's like, I'm on the ground. What they mean is they want him on his stomach so they can put handcuffs on him. And he's turned, and he's like, what are you, and at this point, like I said, there was at least 3 or 4 of them there at that point. One man, I don't know, under 6 foot, wasn't super tall, wasn't real big. He's just a normal sized person. So it wasn't, like some freaking wrestler gets out that could smoke
hopped
them.
Up on
no.
meth and trying to eat their
that
faces
would be,
or anything.
Right. Okay.
Fight
That's
or flight.
a little different.
It was basically just a fight on their part. Huh?
Yes. And so I think he could tell. So at one point in the video, he gets up and he runs. And I think at that point, he's running for his life because I think he just knew. And I'm watching it and I'm thinking, oh my God, they're going to beat this guy. Now, I didn't think they were going to do what they did, but then they catch him and then they're just beating the shit out of him. He's on the ground at that point, and so you're going to tell me four. Well, I could see four in it from one of the videos I seen, and they just said it was five total, obviously. So, you're gonna tell me that it took all you guys? Because I think four women that were like 110 pounds and 5 foot probably could have took this guy down and handcuffed him without beating him. Like it's so. It makes me wonder, like in reality, is this a lot bigger issue in our country than we think of? Because I don't ever think when I get pulled over, like, I mean, I've had a few asshole cops pull me over, not locally. Like, I had a state cop in Mass pull me over once. He was a complete dickhead. It was at night, and then when he noticed someone was in the passenger seat, female, like, and my ex-wife, whatever, he, like, backed right down. And, but then I've been pulled by them that were, like, coolest guys in the world. So it still comes down to the person, right? And there's a power thing. And I know for a lot of people, like, it's a power thing. You put the badge on, and suddenly you feel like you're better than everybody and you're above the law. And no, you're not. And some of them are great, and they're great cops. Majority of them, not even some, a majority of them. But you still have some out there, even after all this stuff. Like, remember the video we watched of that white cop that pulled the black guy over, and he was being like horrible to him, and the female cop come over and said, like, what the hell are you doing? And he grabbed her by the throat. Like, that woman's trying to save her safe from being burnt, because if this idiot keeps doing what he's going to do, they're going to, like, this is going to turn into a big race thing and whatever. People like that shouldn't have a badge anymore. Like, see you later. You're out of here. I hope they charge these freaking fully. Like, you think the George Floyd thing was bad? The George Floyd thing was nothing compared to this. George Floyd, they just, like, that one cop sat on his neck for however long. Plus, he died of a drug overdose, too. Like, there's a lot of things with it. And listen, in my opinion, George Floyd's an absolute piece of shit, and he's not here, and the way he died's not okay. But I'm not crying at night about it. This dude, no. And I've seen a lot of other ones, the cops that, shoot a guy that they think he has a gun and that kind of thing, and you look at it and be like, that's bullshit, and that's not okay. Should the city burn? No. But this one I looked at, I'm like, I'll go down there and stand down there with him and hold a fucking sign. Like, this is ridiculous. And so we'll see what happens. But, and then it just kind of made me think and step back. Like, well, maybe there's more of an issue in the country than I think, because my perspective isn't the perspective of other people. And no one should feel that way. No person should wake up in the morning and be like, if I get pulled in my car today, am I going to be murdered too because I'm black or I'm Indian or I'm... Because I never... you talk about white privilege, and I don't believe white privilege, how people say it, saying it's bullshit.
I think that there's monetary privilege. I don't think it's
Yes.
skin color. It's money
Yes.
gets you privilege.
Yeah.
In the sense of, like, you can afford a lawyer that...
But I will say that never in my life have I been pulled over by a cop and been fearful. Ever. Never felt that. And I think many black people get pulled over and are fearful, and that's not okay.
No.
That's not okay at all. So I don't know how we fix it. I think, honestly, I think this is going to come down to, like you were talking, like a vetting thing where they hire these. You thought you saw a story about they just hired them part of we don't have enough officers anymore, because who the hell wants to be a police officer? Because it's a target.
I don't know. You know what I mean? Like, I read it last night,
Right.
but I didn't screenshot it. It was just, like breaking news. I think it was 3 of them might have been hired, or 3 or 4 of them were hired by the city because they were so short on cops. So it was like 2 different programs they had going on. Now, I don't know if that's true or not. It's worth more investigation. So
Right.
it's...
But you thought you saw something like that.
where they weren't vetted the way that they normally are.
Yeah. I mean, it's unfortunate because, in any job you get bad people, you get bad apples. It's always the case, and it will always be an issue. But I feel like it's way too much of an issue. Like once a year if this happened, or I guess.
Yeah, there's 300 some odd million people.
Yes.
We got a lot of cops. Like, do I think we need as many cops? I think at the end of the day, if people had more virtuous designs for their own life, whether it's through God or
whatever. Yeah.
whatever, like a spiritual connection to something, or you know what I mean. But I think that the country has lost part of that because we've gone away from.
But that's what pissed me off. So I am like very much anti the Black Lives Matter, the BLM thing. I'm very much like,
Well, that was a scam.
It's a scam. That's bullshit.
All they've purchased allegedly are houses for each other.
yeah, exactly. So I said to myself, that's a scam. That's a bunch of bullshit. When they burnt that black ex-firefighter's restaurant down in, I think it was Minneapolis, and he's crying on TV that his life savings had just got burnt down. And they probably won't cover it because it wasn't like a firefighter. It was a act of, domestic
Violence,
terrorism or whatever.
No, it was mostly peaceful, right? So how do you justify that? It
The
was a
mostly peaceful,
protest.
we burnt your whole friggin' city down, summer of 2020.
Don't believe your lying eyes.
Yeah. So,
Pay no attention to everything burning behind me. This is peaceful.
because for me, it's like, oh, we're gonna make change, and let's make change. How are we gonna do it? What's the steps?
Do you guys see? You think with logic and reason.
Yeah.
The problem is that these people that get up into power don't think with logic and reason. They think about money,
Yeah. How can I make money off of
power,
this?
and influence, and then minimizing groups that they think are a threat to their power. That's
why
classic 101
I despise people like
villainy.
I despise people like Al Sharpton and Jesse Jackson because they're nothing but race baiters. They don't give a shit about anything but their own pockets.
Are they even out there anymore?
Sharpton is.
Really?
Yeah, that dude's lost all kinds of weight. He looks.
I don't even watch.
I don't watch it. I just see this one thing because it was breaking news. Like I said, if it wasn't for that breaking news, I would know nothing about this story. You know why? Because those cops aren't white. It's reality. And look back at any of these things. Just look at it from, step back for a minute and look about everything that's happened over the last few years with beatings of cops and everything else. And think about it. George Floyd, it was white cops, like all these different ones. The ones that had.
Well, there's some minorities.
Yes,
involved
yeah.
with
And
that.
there was an Asian guy. But then it mattered, right? Then it was a huge thing. But the fact that, Chicago every day, black
But
people
see,
killing
we can
black
sit here and
people.
talk about stats and logic and
it
reason,
wouldn't
and
matter.
it doesn't matter. People
No.
are emotionally pulled to us versus them type of thing.
Right.
And really, it should be all of us people reminding the government that we're in charge of them. They're not in charge of us.
Exactly.
That's what it all boils down to, right? So these are all, in my perspective, it's all symptoms of a broken system where everybody in this country, not everybody, a lot of people have forgotten that we're actually in charge, and then they're supposed to do what we say. So when 70% of us say stop sending money to Ukraine, the government should oblige, and they're not. So therefore, they're not working on our behalf anymore. So it's an illegitimate government.
Yeah.
Like they have totally decided to screw the will of the people. And
Yeah,
so
yeah.
all those symptoms trickle down because everybody feels that life isn't fair.
Right.
Because I got a tax burden on me now that's not going to help out soldiers that need money, that are told to go get on food stamps because the government's messed up the economy so bad that they're like, oh, go get on food stamps. Oh, how about you fix some things, increase their pay so that they don't have to go on food stamps and no one else really does either. Stop giving all of our money to immigrants that we owe nothing to. And they're not immigrants. Some of them are immigrants if they're here to actually immigrate. The rest are here illegally.
Yeah.
Fighting age men do not get asylum in a country like this. Fighting age men are supposed to be turned around and sent back and told to go fight. That's why there's a fight, 19 to 39 or 49. You go back. You don't get asylum. I don't understand how all of a sudden this is foreign to people. People stop learning about history and the government and laws and the Constitution. That's obviously what has happened. That's why I'm glad New Hampshire has the civics test coming back so that
Yep.
our seniors will have.
We talked about that today because actually Lydia has to do that in social studies. I think it's coming right up. They do it in 8th grade. I think it's the prep, right? So this year it's 70 questions off the test of 100. The seniors have to pass or they don't graduate. And next year it'll be a full 100. And I think that's one of the best things New Hampshire's done because if you expect immigrants to know this stuff and we don't, that's, and then like I said, we should take it so that we can be like, wow, we don't know as much as we think we do, right?
Yeah, there's probably a
you
few
know, it's hard
things
to
in there.
remember some of the stuff. I mean, we got obviously the basics. We know all those things, but no, I think it's great. I think it's awesome that they're
Well, it's kind of like if I were a Democrat, I don't know, operative or prepper or whatever they want to call it, because they have operatives that are out there helping the party out. You showed that clip, or you were asking about that judge that didn't even know the different portions of the
oh my God,
Constitution.
that she was Obama.
But you know what I mean? Like, so I get it, because I've been in situations where I've forgotten something that I know full well about, right? You got cameras on you, you're a little bit nervous or whatever. But usually they're supposed to be prepped for these kinds of things. Just like a big trial, they'll prep the defendant, they'll prep the prosecution witnesses. They all get prepped so that whenever the lights are on and everybody's watching them, they don't.
Yeah, they're not the deer in headlights. Like,
Yeah. So, you know what I mean? So, like, on one hand, I'm kind of like, but she did it with two different ones that she didn't know, she couldn't respond to. And like, you could tell that she had totally forgotten which article covered which branch of government. But, like, I couldn't tell you right now off the top of my head, and I majored in poli-sci because you learn that and then you move on.
right. And
But if I'm going up for the Supreme Court, where your number one sole purpose is to translate the Constitution, you need to know the Constitution.
yeah, it's kind of like firing teachers out of school.
Well, not for Supreme Court, but for court. She was going up for some judicial
some
position.
circuit
It wasn't
court.
Supreme Court, yeah.
But still, like high up, like
you should know the
we're not
Constitution.
talking Newport
because
District Court.
whenever you interpret the law, it's through the eyes of the Constitution. That's the roadmap.
Yeah, that's
It's not what you think.
no.
Which is what everybody feels like. Everybody thinks that, like, so I'm all about individuality to an extent. Like, the government doesn't get to tell me what to do. Now, yeah, it has laws that we all agree to abide by in the social contract, but you're not going to come in here and tell me what's going in my body, what I'm going to eat, what I'm not going to eat, what I'm going to, like, there's certain things, I get it. You don't want somebody out there designing faulty, any type of piece of equipment and selling them and ripping people off and causing all kinds of fires. I get it. Like, you got to have some type of, everything needs a check and balance, because there's always, until we flush out all evil, there's always going to be somebody that's cutting corners and doesn't care if it kills you. They just want their money because, they're greedy. So I get it. You got to have some rules. So I used to be a libertarian. Now I'm independent, because you got to have something. You can't just let everybody do what they want.
Right.
Because if you do that, then
You got nothing. It's
totally survival of the fittest, and you'll get a group of guys together that will just bowl over everybody. And
right.
oh wait, they'll take over the government and turn it into something that it wasn't meant to be.
So I don't even know, like, if you live in Memphis, that how do they fix this? How do you wake up in Memphis today as a citizen, no matter what color you are, but I guess especially black? Like, how do they fix that? How does the next person that gets pulled over by an officer in Memphis that's a good person that's not? Like,
Well, they're getting rid of the Scorpion unit, allegedly.
Still.
I wonder if they're going to get rid of it or just rename it to something else. 'Cause a lot of times the government does that too. If y'all don't know, they'll say they're going to disband something and then they just reform it under a different name. If you want to know why I'm so cynical, is because I worked for the government for 25 years, so I know how it works. It's, we got to stop doing this. Well, then let's stop doing this little bitty thing and we'll change the name of it. And
we'll rebrand it.
Yeah, they rebrand it.
Same shitty drink that you've been drinking all along with just special little name and a little flag, pizzazz to it, and you're like, oh, it's so much better. I don't know.
Put a new sticker on it, and you're like, ooh, it's new.
Yes.
Even though I've drank it for 30 years.
Yeah, I don't know. I wanted to, like, I don't know. It's my little trip to Florida. When I finally get to relax and then you kind of start thinking about things other than just I got to get my house done, got to do it. Really, and a lot of people 2 years ago have talked to me, and now they'd be like, holy shit, like my liberal friends, like, oh my God, you're starting to sound more liberal, and I'm like, no, but I think the biggest thing is that I'm noticing more and more and more is that we're all so much alike, and we all think very much alike. It's just the little things pop up to divide us, right? Because 100 of us get in a room, and most of us really gonna have Oh, I would think all 100 people would watch that video and be like, "Oh my god, I'm appalled and pissed." And now we all want to go freaking burn down.
Right. So
You
if
know,
we had the 100 of us in the room, we
Right.
all initially agreed, but then there would be like a reporter that walks in and
Yes.
doesn't like the way that you emphasize the word black on cop, or you know what I'm saying? And then they're like, well, we can't really trust Tim because you hear the way he said black officer. You
Right.
know what I mean? And so then they start getting discord. So
Yes.
then the group starts fighting about, well, Tim doesn't really care because you heard the way he emphasized that word. And it's like, what? Like, that's your opinion, but like, you're here to support. You know what I mean? Like, so it gets lost on people.
Yeah.
That your original action was like, hey, this is BS. Let's fix it.
Right.
Like you were saying before, it's in the heart. It's not how you say something. But,
Exactly.
But they will pick up on that to try to keep dividing you so that the 100 of you don't work together.
So now
There's
the-
always one of them in there that'll
Yes.
be like, do you really trust him? Do you really trust Steve?
Right. And then all of a sudden, your 100 people's divided in little groups.
They live in Newport. You know, that's 96% white or whatever. Like, you can't really trust them. And then we're like, but we agree with you, and it doesn't matter.
We're human fucking beings. We care. Like, I wouldn't
But
mention.
it's all there's
Yes.
always a little weasel that gets in there that tries to divide it, no matter what it's for.
Yeah. Like, if I didn't.
And it doesn't even, like, they may do it just for their own personal pleasure, or
Yep.
because they're nefarious for other reasons, right? Like,
Right.
you never know. Like, some people get a kick out of just being contrarian, pot stirring d bags.
Yeah. No, it's just, like I said, if I didn't care at all about this, we wouldn't even mention it on the show because I'm just, well, whatever, going to something else. But this is something that really
It doesn't
set me
help.
off.
It doesn't help. Like,
No. So
it doesn't help cops. It doesn't help the black community. It doesn't help Memphis.
I mean,
And it doesn't build trust for a guy like me. That like like Brent Wilmot, chief of police over there, great guy.
Yeah.
Our cops, I trust.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I see them, I trust them. But like, I get outside of Newport, and then my trust of cops starts going down tremendously. Especially like, you get pulled over and you're automatically, what did I do wrong? I'm not speeding, and then it's like a headlight out or whatever. But it's not like, hey, you got a headlight out. They strut up to the car. The little walk. And granted, I might be doing a Texas walk. Maybe that's just how Texas officers walk. I haven't been pulled over, knock on wood, in New Hampshire. But in South Carolina, he had that walk. He pulled me over, and everybody else was speeding past me just because I had Texas plates. I was convinced. So, like, that's how people, right? So, like, I'm sitting there like, he pulled me over because I have Texas plates, and you can't convince me that that's not why he pulled me over, because I was getting passed by other people. I was in the slow lane. I was slowing down because the
But he actually pulled you to tell you that you left your computer on your roof and you jumped to conclusions.
no, he was a jerk.
And this
And
like I said,
Zeta
I
was
got-
born in South Carolina, so I mean,
I got pulled over, like I said, in Mass coming back from Pennsylvania. I had my dually truck at that time with a like 14-foot trailer, enclosed trailer, and he's like, "You're all on." He's still like swearing, and cops aren't supposed to swear. Like, you're supposed to be professional. They come up, be like, "Why the fuck are you going so fast?" and all this, and I'm like, "What the fuck?" And then my wife, like at the time, had sat up because it was late, at night, and then the tone suddenly changed when there was another person there that could verify the story probably, because this would have been before body cams, but. And a lot of people said like Mass State Troopers have got a fucking huge ass ego. And then I had another Mass State Trooper pull me over with Andrea, and we're going somewhere on 91, and I'm just talking to her. I'm in the high speed lane, yep, and I was going like 80, so not super super fast, but definitely 65, And I look over, and it's Stady, and I'm
You're
like,
passing?
I'm passing, and I'm like, oh, fuck, because this is not going to go good. Continue to pass, pull over. Then the other blues come on, and I'm like, oh, no. Pull over. Probably police officer in his late 40s, maybe. Comes over to the passenger side, and I'm the same every time. Pull me over. Like, sorry, what did I do? I don't. You be respectful of the officer and everything else. Now, if that changes on his end, then it's going to change on my end. Because I don't care who you are, don't talk to me that way. Like, respect me, and I'll respect you, that kind of thing. And he was the coolest guy in the world. He's like, that state troopers have egos this big, right? And he was like, there's no way I'm going to let you pass me, he says. And he just gave me a warning. He's like, I hate to give tickets to hard, I had my truck lettered up, and, hardworking people. And he was awesome. Now, if you come up to me and I'm like, what the fuck, blah, 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 and I went off, okay, you're going to get a ticket. Sure. Maybe I don't get arrested or anything, but why? Be respectful. Do what's asked, right? But then if it changes, like if you're on the ground getting your ass beat and you're like still trying to get on the ground, you're like, well, geez, this is the ground. Like how low, all right, I get it. Like,
hey, Nikki was pulled over. We'll tell stories here. Nikki was pulled over in Louisiana with her friend in the car who happened to be black. And the Louisiana cop was not very happy that Nikki was driving around with a black occupant in her vehicle. It made it so there are racists out there, and there are racist cops out there. Granted, this was in the late '90s,
right?
So you hope that things have changed and gotten better, but really
the levels come down.
So, I mean, that's been like 30 years since the
right.
civil rights movement, and we still had that. But that's not, you know what I mean? So I don't want to minimize it, and like people sit here think that we think that everything's hunky dory, that there's not anything else. But in this particular case, it's black on black with black officers, and yet they still find a way to blame it on white supremacy.
Yes.
Where it should just be, these are 5 officers that were improperly trained, probably. We hope they were.
Nah.
We don't know what else is out there, right? Because there's other rumors that we hadn't addressed about some of these cops or everything else. So that needs to flesh out more before we put it out here. But there seems to be like some other things afoot. But I don't want people. I'm not looking at the world with rose-colored glasses. There's bad people out there, but I believe that the majority of us are just want to get along and be left alone, and we want to help out. If you know what I mean, like I think most of us would say, if we can help out other countries, great. But first, let's fix the homeless crisis. Let's find out why we can't get these people off of drugs. What's going on in their lives, and let's invest in that and get them off the street so that they live comfortably. Then let's focus, if we have any charity left, on other countries. But we need to take care of ourselves first.
Yeah.
That's my take on it.
It's great, and it's interesting because the media could flip this too and say, well, isn't it amazing how fast they charge these officers that were black? The white guys don't get charged as quick. Like, this is the kind of stuff that'll happen in the media.
Yeah, they'll...
Why does that happen, folks? That happens to piss you off. They released the body cam footage to piss you off. It worked. It pissed me off. It worked for me in a different way. I'm not going to go burn a city down because I'm pissed about it. I wouldn't mind going to burn the officers' houses down with them inside personally, but just that.
You don't condone it. You're just saying,
no, don't do it. I don't condone it, but
you understand, like you get frustrated. Like the anger is not how they want you to get. Your anger is just
that dude had a mom, a dad, and
all victims do. That's the point, right?
So put yourself in their shoes. All right, that's your child. I know what happened if it was my child. Like. So I get it.
You would want revenge on everybody involved.
I would have burnt the fucking city down too. Like, and this is, I guess, what's changed with me. And I guess 2 years ago when Minneapolis burned, and like I said, when I saw that black man's business burning, him crying, like, this whole Black Lives Matter, that's bullshit. That whole thing that happened, that has nothing about Black Lives Matter. That was a bunch of assholes that should all be in jail, burning a city down because they're a bunch of thugs that were paid, many of them, which has been pretty much proven that we've paid protesters to go there, and those guys didn't give a crap about George Floyd. Didn't care about the guys. None of it. They didn't care about any of that. Now, put yourself in the shoes.
Some of them probably did, but
they weren't breaking the shit.
It gets started with like the Ray
mob
Epps type of people.
Yes,
whispering in your ear to go.
Yes.
That's how it all starts. There's probably a provocateur.
There's a couple in there they throw in to get them riled up,
breaking some windows, and there's a
No, but I think this is what we got to do. We got to look at it as like, you really need to sit back and it's like, okay, that was your brother, that was your mom, whoever, that was someone's loved one.
Right. But the key is not to go out and take it out on all cops. The key is to go and figure out, like, how did we get here? Because they like, unless they're not showing something, because I haven't watched a video, but what you've said, unless they've not shown something before, which I don't know why they would do that at this point, because it's all going to come out eventually.
The only reason I could say that,
there's no justification for it whatsoever.
The only justification I could see, not even justification, but I could a little bit of, like, I could side with the officer a little bit. is if, as he's driving away recklessly, as they're trying to pull him over, he throws his 2-month-old baby out of the freaking car at 60 onto the ground, and or he was shooting at them.
Right.
Okay. Now, if they beat your ass, you were shooting at them, you tried to kill them, said officers. Now it changes a little bit. But everything I've seen, everything I've read, everything, that is not the case at all. This dude was calm and everything as he got out, just like the black guy that the big white guy was trying to arrest that grabbed the female by the throat. Similar to that. But he actually was on the ground and like, get on the ground, get on the effing ground, swearing all that stuff. And he's on the ground. He's like sitting, but he's like on the ground. They're all around him and on him. And, I think they're trying to handcuff him. But they didn't say on your face. And then they did at some point. But then I think he could tell with I could tell when I'm watching, like, oh my God, like then he goes to run. And he got a little ways, but then they beat this guy.
Was he handcuffed when he was running?
No, they hadn't got the cuffs on him yet. Yep.
Too bad he didn't outrun him.
I know. I would have helped pay for his defense. Now it's a funeral.
It's sad.
It is.
At the end of the day, we all need to be coming together as citizens.
Yes.
Across racial, class divides. Try to figure out, get this government. The government that's in there is not working in our interest.
Police officers used to be called.
I mean, was it not Schumer? McConnell's on there talking about how they're going to do everything for Ukraine. Like, does anybody even care about Ukraine? The politicians, they don't care what party they're from. They're so they try to redirect this, and it's just so like it makes me angry, right? Like the releasing of that video makes you angry. I haven't watched it. I'm sure it'll make me angry, but like watching. Politicians act like we care about Ukraine. I don't care about Ukraine.
I haven't seen any videos come out or anything that the last I knew Russia was totally backed down. Russia wanted a peace deal with them, but
Dude, all I'm telling you is back in the 90s, Russia said, NATO, back off, whatever. Like this is right after they broke up as a communist and coming into fruition as a Russian Federation. That was known back in the 90s. So this is all provocation. Like, I don't know, like, this isn't, because, like, granted, Putin's probably a horrible guy. I don't know the guy, right? Like, I'm not justifying him, but I'm telling you that the country of Russia has told NATO, don't come up on our border. It's just like the U.S. told the Soviet Union, don't put your missiles in Cuba. I mean, it's the same exact situation. It's just flip-flop.
yeah.
I mean, that's what we have going on here. That's my best analogy. We said, don't do it. We got videos of them doing it. They said, don't accept them into NATO. That's encroachment, and it's a threat, and we'll perceive it as a threat. And they've been saying it for 30 years, and so we decided to do it. What, Putin's he's the kind of guy, allegedly, that'll fight back. So that's my take on that. I'm not justifying Russia in any form or fashion. What I'm saying is, what did you expect to happen when they told you this was going to happen if you did it? And then they did it.
It's been almost a year now, right? Wasn't it like February last year it started?
Yeah, I wonder what else is going to...
Remember the city was going to fall in like a minute of days? This is why I can't trust the media anymore.
Well, where's all the cell phone footage from all the citizens?
You don't see any, do you? Wonder why. Probably because there's not shit going on.
Like if somebody like Grant, and I'm only saying this because they made a big deal about Elon giving them free internet through Starlink. Right?
Yeah.
So they allegedly have internet over there through Starlink. We would get a lot of Tim and Steve out on the corner like, oh my God,
yeah.
Look at these tanks or whatever. Or look at this atrocity going on. Like there would be somebody putting that out there. I feel like. Maybe I'm wrong.
No, you're right.
But it seemed like we would have a lot of cell phone footage.
Yeah.
Because we have a lot of cell phone footage that we can go through on TikTok for any and everything.
Right. Exactly. So,
I don't know. Just something, it's all a little fishy to me. I'm suspect of everything. We need to turn and look inward, not, keep an eye outward, but we need to focus our resources on improving our own country. Like, high-speed internet and improved roads for Newport, New Hampshire. This is a third-world country that we're living in. Driving to your house last night, I went from formerly Barton Whitney style.
Smooth.
But like my road used to look like the bottom of your road up until last year.
Yep.
So go from that. Then I got to get into the rails, into the mud, so that the car kind of goes straight. It's ridiculous. This is the United States of America. We can't freaking pave a road. We have Roman roads that have lasted
2,000 years.
centuries, millennia, and we can't put a road up.
Engineers didn't design them ones.
Yeah, exactly. So as far as we know, anyway.
Yeah, I don't know. All right, guys. Show's a little long today, but
Hope you made it all the way through. If you did,
I know the good stuff was at the end there, huh? Now people will call me racist, which I will laugh off. Some idiot will. I know one idiot, especially, but I don't care.
I have not heard anything that had said that would imply that, other than the fact that you want justice for Tyree Nichols.
Yeah. Yeah, like, man. Anyway, so we'll do another show, obviously, this week. Hopefully do 2 more. But, like a little, you can't really see it. A little cut I got yesterday. I, hit the saw blade on the chop saw because the guard it was on it. At one point, somehow I hit it with a board and it hit the blade and it shattered and went flying. So the blade wasn't on. I was like, son of a bitch. Yeah. Yeah. So, all right. So Saturday, deliberate session, 9 a.m. That's an important thing. Today's the end of the month, so I don't think the select board meeting tonight. It'll be next week. So, Andrew's birthday is on Wednesday. I need to remember that. Very important. And, enjoy today. It's going to get really freaking cold by the end of the week. Not looking forward to that. So if you have anything in the house you need to, button up, or you got some window that's been having air sneak by or something, you want to deal with that now because you're really going to want to have dealt with it before then.
I think I may have to go to Ocean State and give me some foam to stick into some of these older windows.
Yeah, hopefully I can. Yeah, it's going to be, I hate cold weather. But all right, guys, have a great day. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.